Dr. Fauci held in contempt by Senator Rand Paul's committee, but there's a catch. It's not the full Senate voting for contempt. What does this mean going forward? Let's talk about it. Here we go. And yes, Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin referred to him as Saint Fauci. So you see, the show is more popular than you realize. Welcome to the show. Glad you're here today. Saint Fauci held in contempt by Senator Rand Paul's committee, party lines. So, you know, for all of John Fetterman's bluster, for all of his appearances on Fox News and everything else, John Fetterman still votes like a Democrat, okay? He voted along party lines when it came to sending it to the full Senate, and he voted along party lines when it came to holding Fauci in contempt. Now, here's the reality. This may be dead on arrival at the Department of Justice. I don't know for sure, and I do not want to give you false hope. But there's a lot of reasons why the Department of Justice may move forward with charges to hold Fauci in contempt. And this is how the process would work. So the Senate voted, they refer this to the DOJ. The DOJ does an investigation, and then they could criminally charge him with contempt of Congress. If that happens, then it's the standard due process and everything else is invoked. Fauci's argument is going to be a couple things. Number one, he's going to say the full Congress, the full Senate has to vote to hold me in contempt. They did not do that. The reason why they didn't do that is because you're not going to pass the filibuster 60 vote threshold to hold Fauci in contempt. That's going to be his main argument. And the main argument that he's going to say, his lawyers are going to say to the Department of Justice as they review this and say, you can't press charges against him because it was not the full Senate that voted, and that's the way it's supposed to be. All right, that's number one. Number two, his argument's going to be, listen, I have to invoke the fifth because there are still states who are looking to criminally charge me, like Florida, for instance, where Florida has now opened a full-fledged investigation into Fauci and even alleging that he may have made money or tried to make money off of his role in the pandemic. So they're going to argue, listen, he has to invoke his Fifth Amendment rights because states can still go after him, and he doesn't want to hold himself out there and be vulnerable. Those are the arguments. Now, what the Congress did not do, what the Senate committee did not do, is give him blanket immunity for anything related to COVID and anything that he may have done, said, or whatever. They didn't give him the big immunity. So that's going to be an issue that his defense team is going to use going forward. But I think, one of the senators, I think it was Gary Peters, made this great point. He said, look, if every time an executive official comes to the Congress and invokes the Fifth Amendment, we can't do our job of oversight. Where'd you hear that from? This very podcast. That's right. This very show. I've been saying that. I've been saying that it's a problem in our system. Congress has oversight of the executive branch, but if every time a bureaucrat comes before the Senate and invokes the Fifth, you will never be able to hold the executive branch accountable to the American people. That's a real problem and a problem that has to be addressed. And I thought that was an excellent point. The other issue is that I know that there's a sense out there of being like, Fauci gets away with it and this just martyrs him. And that may be true. I mean, that may be one of the situations that is a regret. Fauci may get off on this. In which case, then it looks like it's going to be a situation where you go, oh, all this was for nothing. And now it just made Fauci more powerful. So you got to be really careful here. But I think the Senate did the right thing. And the reason why is because he did have a pardon. And there's no reason why Asanto Fauci, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's leading infectious disease doctor, you always have to say that by law, there's no reason why Fauci should not answer these questions. All the Senate is trying to do is get to the bottom of what happened during the pandemic so that when the next pandemic comes, they have answers and they know who's around and who's doing things and they know the power of the bureaucracy. Rand Paul's resolution allows him to skip a full Senate vote and send the referral directly to the Department of Justice. And he didn't do anything wrong here, but it's not the normal protocol, and that's what Fauci's team is going to push back on. Senate Republicans moved to hold Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress in their pursuit of forcing the former architect of the nation's COVID-19 response to go on record about his actions leading up to and during the pandemic. Things like gain-of-function research. What did you know? What did you say? And were you being truthful? Were you being honest? Why did you change your position on it multiple times? Why did you work to actively censure anybody who said this virus came from the Wuhan lab? Things like that. Things like, why'd you go out there and tell everybody the vaccine stops transmission when you knew it didn't? Why did you lie about the death rate? You said it in your diary it was 0.2 to 0.3%. You told everybody it could be as high as 2%. Why did you do these things? But mostly the gain of function research too. Did we create this virus? Yes, but did we? That's what we need to know officially. We know we did, And then why was the cover up done? Who are you protecting? And then what other viruses are out there, and how do we make sure this never happens again? So the Senate Homeland and Governmental Affairs Committee voted on sharp party lines to charge Fauci. That's because Senator John Fetterman will not cross his own party. He might bluster, he might go on TV, he might talk a big game. At the end of the day, this guy votes like a Democrat. Bottom line. And Senator Rand Paul wants the Department of Justice involved as soon as possible. There's also a question whether Fauci's pardon from President Joe Biden protected him during the hearing, which Rand Paul hopes to find answers to. I was listening to Jonathan Turley on Fox News earlier today give his analysis of this, and he said it could be very potentially significant because Rand Paul, towards the end of the hearing, limited the questioning to everything that was covered by Fauci's pardon. So the argument would be everything that was covered under the pardon, he should have answered for because he had immunity, and we need answers and we need to do oversight. Again, Fauci's legal defense is going to push forward and say, no. He could look at Florida. They're trying to charge the guy. All these red state governors are trying to make an example out of him, so they're going to go after him. He's got to protect himself. He's got to use the Fifth Amendment. He can't say things that could result in criminal charges on a state level. And there's been no immunity provided to him to cover him on the states. And so he can't just let himself go out there. That's going to be the argument. We'll see if that plays. And they have his cell phone too. In the background, a copy of Fauci's pandemic-era cell phone is now in the possession of Senate Republican investigators. Fox News Digital confirmed that Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Department of Health and Human Services sent over a copy of the phone to the Senate Homeland Security Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations chaired by Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. And Ron Johnson, man, that guy's like a dog with a bone. He is ready to go after Fauci. Because he was another one who was called a conspiracy kook during COVID, who was shut down, who was said he was crazy. He wants answers, and he wants to get those answers. And of course, obviously, we have all the diary pages as well. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer of Kentucky had previously signaled that he's not done with Fauci either. After the longtime public health official pleaded the Fifth Amendment over 100 times during his last hearing, the question then became, he's covered, he's protected, what is the problem? So we will see where this goes. And I know that there's a number of us who think this is all just theater and all for show. But I hate to say it. I mean, there's an old saying, the process is the punishment. They're putting him through this process now. And even if they don't get criminal charges, and if they do get a referral for criminal charges, even if he's not convicted, it's a real question of whether or not this just makes Anthony Fauci's career and his legacy and everything else just completely ruined. Because it looks like he's holding back from being truthful with the American people. I mean, you got guys out there like Bill Maher saying that Fauci needs to be transparent and honest and tell the American people what happened. So even though there's a lot of people out there who are saying, well, he's still so respected, Fauci. He still has the trust of the American people, and polls tend to show that. I think this whole thing's been disastrous for him. I really do. I think his credibility is shot. I think the credibility of the health industrial complex is shot. And I think ultimately next time there's something like this and officials come forward and they start giving all their edicts and their commandments and everything else, I think the American people are going to ask twice. I really do. They're going to ask twice. And let's not forget, there's also precedent for guys coming before Congress and not answering questions and then going to jail. Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, and others who refused to answer questions, who refused to cooperate with Congress, and then wound up behind bars. So there's precedent for that. And I've been through this with you before, so I'm not going to do it again, but the Supreme Court precedent has also said that if you've been given a pardon, you have to comply, you have to cooperate, you cannot hide behind the Fifth Amendment because you are not at risk for criminal prosecution. The loophole in that is going to be Fauci's legal team saying, but he could be charged in Florida or another red state. So we'll see where this goes. And that is the big story of the hour, brought to you by Dr. Mike Veneria Dental. 2 locations to serve you, Cinnaminson and Woodbury, New Jersey, but right over the bridge and worth the trip from wherever you are coming from, because he's the absolute best and the master of dental implants. Now, today I'm going on the story with Martha McCallum, and I'll be debating that same guy that I was on the same show with last time, who kept trying to obfuscate away from, at the time it was Graham Plattner, to this congressman who's facing domestic abuse charges running for re-election. And I'm sure today he's going to try to do the exact same thing when it comes to Francesca Hong. She is the DSA-backed candidate for governor of Wisconsin. And I'm sure he's going to try to obfuscate and dance around this, but here's the reality. She checks all of the DSA boxes, period. And she did an interview with Hassan Piker, the far left streaming lunatic who hates America and thinks America deserved 9/11. And that guy asked her all the DSA questions, and she checked all the DSA boxes. With one glaring exception, she now loves Thanksgiving, apparently. Oh, yes. Even though she had tweeted in the past that she hates Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving should be abolished, and then last week gave a very odd answer on canceling Thanksgiving, if you remember. We'll refresh your memory with cut one.
You know, you talked about your past positions that he keeps highlighting and, obviously likely would continue to do so before November should you win. One thing that they brought up as well was a post from you in 2021 where you said Americans should cancel Thanksgiving, should have done this in 1621. The post has been deleted. Republicans have been highlighting it. Do you still believe that Thanksgiving should be canceled?
I'm a chef. And one of the first meals that I made that was for the community when I was 16 was a Thanksgiving meal. I always think my hospitality background in owning a restaurant for 7-8 years, that bringing folks around the table to share conversation and build community is always a good thing. But Thanksgiving is also a time that's incredibly painful for many people in our communities. And so I think I wanted to make sure that people understood that there are multiple views, but views can evolve. And the position that I'm running for right now, and I think my background as a chef, will actually help me become a better governor that's able to bring more people to the table.
Francesca Hong, thank you for...
No pushback, no counter. Why is it painful to people? How is it painful? Literally nobody alive today who enjoys Thanksgiving died of smallpox, died of malaria, was subject to colonialism, was killed by Christopher Columbus. Like nobody. So why is it still painful now, 450 years later? But you're not going to get pushback from Caitlin Collins on that. She's just going to let it go. And I love too that she's like, well, I'm a chef. Yeah, so is Hannibal Lecter. Okay, what does that have to do with anything?
Hang on. He was a therapist who also liked cooking. Okay, he wasn't in the hospitality. I mean, he was very hospitable. He wasn't in the hospitality game. Exactly. He was an amateur chef, not a professional chef. I love that she's just like, pain words. What else? And they were like, well, nothing to see here. Seems like you answered my question, gubernatorial candidate. Like, it's so good. I'm sorry. I love it.
No, it's great. It really is. It's like, I mean, the easy follow-up, the layup is, why is it still painful to people 457,000 years later? Why is it still painful now?
Also, I'm not sure. I guess I could be judging a book by its cover. She doesn't look Native American to me. Like, I don't know why this is hurtful to her. Like, is she... I mean, she looks pretty Asian. Like, what would be her pain point in all this?
And even if while she was cooking for the community, somebody came up to her and was like, my great, super great, third removed great uncle died of smallpox in 1625. And I can't get over it. 750 years later, I'm still, the pain is still so real. Be like, maybe you need to think about going to see a therapist. Back to Hannibal Lecter. Like, maybe there's a bigger issue going on here. Like, I can't work, I can't sleep, I can't maintain a job because I can't get over smallpox. And what they did to my Uncle Lenny in 1627.
Uncle Lenny never saw it coming. Just took the blanket from the Pilgrims.
Say his name, Jared. Say his name.
This is Ann Coulter made this point about illegal immigration that they used to make it, liberals would make it seem like it was the black experience, right? Who they did not have a choice to coming here. It's the same thing. Like, what's the Asian experience? Were we rounding up Asian immigrants in the 1600s and dragging them to this country? That's not your experience. You came here. Your people came here on purpose and you stayed here.
Right. And you don't have to stay. No one's making you. No one's forcing you. We don't have a wall of the southern border to keep people like Francesca Hong in, okay? She's free to go anytime she wants. They can all go back to their Asian heritage countries. Like, nobody's stopping you, okay? But she feels the pain of this community who suffered literally half a millennium ago. Literally.
My
I just
favorite holiday is Thanksgiving.
What?
'Cause I
There
love
you have it.
Thanksgiving. Yep. I don't want to cancel it. I actually love it. We bring, actually, it's kind of in-laws and family members and their in-laws, and it's a big event. You know, I'm gonna be real. I'm kind of a curmudgeon when it comes to holidays in general.
Yeah, you think?
But right now, what we want to get serious about is making sure that we deliver a Democratic trifecta for the majority, for Democrats. And it's exciting to see more and more people join our movement.
Nice.
And that little eager beaver Politico reporter who's just like, okay, I'm just so happy to get this interview. Like, this guy, okay, well, there you have it. Not like, well, that's literally different. That's a complete 180 from what you said last week to CNN. And it went from you want to cancel it to now it's your favorite holiday. Like, stop, okay? I may have a problem with Valentine's Day, but to go from being like, I think Valentine's Day is stupid, it's a Hallmark holiday and it's amateur hour at restaurants, to being like, it's now my favorite holiday. I've skipped all the others and came right back to the one I despise the most. And now it's my favorite. I'm throwing around chocolate to everybody. I'm giving cans to strangers, candy to strangers. I'm giving random little cards like you did when you were in school to everybody I know so nobody's left out. You don't do that. Nobody does that. You can't go from hating it to being your favorite. Unless there's something radical that changed, like Ebenezer Scrooge and like, well, the ghost came back and now suddenly you love Christmas. Because you almost died. You saw yourself dead and in hell, and now you're like, well, now it's my favorite. Okay, the ghost of Christmas past really drove that point home. There's no ghost of Thanksgiving past who came to visit you, Francesca Hong. Nobody. Now it's her favorite. And that little snark, that swarmy little Politico reporter, just like, well, there you have it. No, there you have it, because you're not going to do a follow-up.
All set. Thank you for the hard-hitting interview. Back to my job at Politico that my dad definitely didn't help me get.
With my little ear pods in, this is going to be big. Mom, I just talked to Francesca Hong, and she said she loves Thanksgiving. This is huge. But did you ask her why she said she hated it? She did? Oh, damn it. I should have probably prepared for that interview a little bit better, huh, Ma?
Look how well placed everything is behind Ms. Hong. You just got the ice out pin. You got the Green Bay Packers gear, Milwaukee Bucks gear. You got Dolly. I don't know why there's Uno wild cards spaced around, but very like Brewers. She's got everything like strategically. I am ready to run for office in Wisconsin. Huh? Look at all my Wisconsin stuff.
Hang on. Let me get a big cheese head to put on for this interview, all right?
Surprised it wasn't on the shelf behind her.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't just start eating cheddar in the middle of the interview. Just like a hunk of cheddar.
Fried cheese curds. It's like, I just always have to take a cheese curd. I'm so Wisconsin. Me and my Wisconsin.
It's like, you know how in FIFA they have a hydration break? She has a cheese curd break.
Exactly.
Just to give her the freshly delicious fried cheese, which, I loved at the Republican National Convention this year.
Not knocking
So wonderful. Not knocking it at all. But the reason why she's doing this, of course, is those are talking points prepared by a Democrat strategist. She's going to win the primary on Tuesday. She will be the Democrat nominee for governor of the swing state of Wisconsin, a must-win battleground state. And so now she can't be the crazy woman who hates Thanksgiving. She just has to be the crazy woman who supports all the crazy DSA policies. Can't let Thanksgiving be a distraction from the fact that she wants to end prisons and defund the police and abolish the borders and abolish ICE and pack the Supreme Court and get rid of the Senate and everything else. Can't let Thanksgiving be a distraction to that now, can we? Tomorrow we'll be live in Cape May, New Jersey. Live show 3 to 6 p.m. My triumphant return to afternoon drive for one day only, 3 to 6 p.m. tomorrow at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. You don't need a ticket. You don't need a reservation. Just come to the show. We would love to see you. Be a lot of great people there, and you don't want to miss this one, okay? So don't miss it. And, here's the thing about this, too. The Democrat Socialists of America say they will require candidates who they endorse to support abolishing the presidency, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. if you want their endorsement, and Francesca Hong has it, just like Abdul El Sayed has it in Michigan, you then need to comply fully with the crazy. There's no optional here. So for all this BS about a big tent, if you want the backing of the DSA and Bernie Sanders and his movement, you better get on board with radically transforming the republic. That's what you got to do.
Hey, where are the white women at?
This is
Bill,
actually
we haven't done
something
that in a
that
while.
we committed to at convention, having our endorsed candidates supporting the program. It's a requirement now. And so that'll be incorporated into our endorsement process.
It sounds so radical, like abolish the Senate, abolish the Supreme Court, like et cetera, but it's not. Like those are the things that need to happen.
So whenever people are like, oh my God, they want to get rid of the president, I was like, well, I don't know what we would call it in the future. We could call it the head honcho of whatever, like it's like we might not have a president.
The head honcho of whatever. So no more president of the United States of America. It's now the head honcho of wherever. Head honcho, which also seems to be the masculine use of the word honcho.
Or we could call it the head honcho of whatever.
Whatever. The head honcho of whatever this thing is. The United States of America, whatever. Okay? You saw me, you see the head honcho elect taking the oath of Mr. Head honcho elect, would you please come forward and take the oath of office? I do solemnly swear that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America from all foreign enemies, foreign and domestic. Congratulations, Mr. Head honcho of whatever. Dun 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 dun.
Just Rich, if you're gonna suggest getting rid of essentially one of the branches, like I don't know if they're talking about having a prime minister and however they do it in the UK. If you're gonna suggest getting rid of the Supreme Court and the presidency, maybe have workshopped the name before you roll that out, right? Like the idea that you're just like, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We're gonna call it the head honcho big guy girl X of we're changing the name too. We didn't want to bring it up. It's not the United States. It's called the whatever place now. So like, how do they not?
Yeah, it's like they workshop this with my daughter's kindergarten class. Yeah. Like, what name would you call it if it was your country? El Guapo? Great.
God, done. Honestly, they could have chat GPT'd it and had a better response to the question than that woman's response to the question. It's amazing.
Oh, man. The head honcho of wherever. Of whatever.
So
whatever
people
this
are like,
is.
oh my God, they want to get rid of the president. I was like, well, I don't know what we would call it in the future. We could call it the head honcho of whatever.
I love it. So cute. What do you want to be when you grow up, Charlie? I want to be the head honcho of whatever. Dream big. Are now come to the final debate between the Democrat and Republican candidates for head honcho of whatever.
Rich, that's such a good one. That your kid, hey, Jimmy, if you go to school and you dig in, you could be the head honcho of whatever. You think, Dad? Like, that's such a good bit.
Yeah. Whatever. The country, whatever you want. Be the head honcho of that thing.
Also, if you or I suggested using the phrase head honcho at a DSA meeting, we would be run out of there so fast for being sexist and racist, right, for using Spanish and masculine. Like they would have excommunicated us from a DSA meeting immediately.
In a heartbeat, the woke mob would have been like, how dare you racist, sexist pig, head honcho, using the masculine and appropriating the culture of the Spanish people. It's head honcha, okay? La hancha. I don't know. Oh, yeah. And here's the thing. I mean, they are winning. They're winning right now in races around the country. They're actually winning, which is just mind-blowing. Let me tell you about Dr. Mike Veneria. He's my dentist. He's my family dentist. He's Mama Zeoli's dentist. He's the guy that's going to give you the beautiful smile that you deserve. And you do deserve that, because I'm telling you right now, you need to go see a dentist. If you have a dental implant or you need complex dental procedures, you got to see a dentist. And Dr. Mike's the best. Now, there are these chain dental offices out there that pop up. I got news for you. These places care about one thing, and that is making money. Dr. Mike cares about compassion and care, and that's what sets them apart. It's also the reason why other doctors and dentists send their patients to Dr. Veneria, because he delivers for them every time. Makes them look good. And if they look good, they're happy. So he delivers for the doctors and dentists, and they keep sending their patients to him, and everybody's happy. There are 2 offices for you, Cinnaminson and Woodbury, New Jersey. Great staff, great people, and you will love talking to him. He's a great guy, great music playing in the office. And just remember, Mama Zeoli discovered him. And if Mama Zeoli trusts him for her grandkids and for her son and for her daughter-in-law, you can trust him for your family. VeneriaDental.com. By the way, is Bernie Sanders going to endorse Francesca Hong? Is he going to get involved in this race for governor of Wisconsin? The answer is no, but I wonder what the real reason is.
I noticed you haven't yet endorsed in the Wisconsin governor's race. What's your thinking there, and might you endorse? Or
I don't think so. I met Francesca a couple of years ago. I was in Wisconsin, and she seems very, very nice. But again, this is a race I just am not that familiar with. We have not gotten involved in many governor's races. I think we did one in Maine with Troy Jackson. You know, obviously my major concern right now is seeing that we have a Senate and a House that is going to stand up to Trump. That's really where my focus is. So as of now, we have not been involved in that race.
Because she's too nuts even for Bernie. That's why, okay? She's too cray-cray even for Bernie Sanders. And that's saying something right there. Because that dude was all up in Graham Plattner's endorsement. But I think the reality is, if he said we never endorse on the state level, we never back gubernatorial candidates, we never, ever do that, that'd be one thing. But they do. They just pick and choose. He just doesn't want to get involved in this race because she's that friggin' nuts. And he's worried that maybe there'll be blowback in some of the other candidates. I'm not quite sure. But it doesn't matter, because the organization, Bernie's movement, is backing her. And that's why she's going to be the nominee on Tuesday. So whether or not Bernie himself officially comes out and says anything, it doesn't really matter, because we know where their heart lies, and that's it. And we're talking about now 2 swing states, 2 purple battleground states that have gone the way of Democrat socialism. Michigan, with the win by Abdul El-Sayed, who won the primary and stands a very good chance of winning the general election. You know, I keep hearing these pundits from the Republican Party go on TV and they say, oh, it's going to be a blowout. Mike Rogers is going to bury him. Blah, blah. I'm not so sure. This is an off-year election, and I would not be so cocky about this. And I outlined my prescription for the Republican Party yesterday and what they should do to push back on this. If you missed that episode, please go back and listen to it. If you miss any episodes, you can always go back and listen. Apple Podcasts, watch the show on YouTube. It's all there for you. And one of the things I found amazing is that if you actually look at our numbers on the episodes, they climb even days after the episode was published. So like, if you're wondering about Francesca Hong, I did a very deep dive on her a few days ago. Go back and listen to it if you missed it. And I think that it's just very telling right now that we're talking about this moment in time where these are not deep blue states. I mean, it'd be one thing if it was Massachusetts or California. These are swing states. I mean, Ron Johnson is the senator from Wisconsin. You know, Michigan, you have Donald Trump won Michigan twice, 3 times if you ask him. So it's not like this is a blue state. It's a purple state for a reason. I mean, Perino's book, Purple State, takes place in Wisconsin. She chose Wisconsin because it is probably the most purple of all the states in the end. But Michigan is very close and very similar. So is PA. And now you've got this on the table. So let's go back to Michigan for a second. This is what Hassan Piker said after Abdul El-Sayed won. Hassan Piker, again, the far left streaming lunatic who's always on social media. He said, if you don't back Abdul El-Sayed, you're an Islamophobe a-hole. Everybody knows about what he said about 9/11, which he's since walked back, even though he has a framed picture of the New York Times from September 12th. Why would you do that, obviously? He said, though, this is just the beginning of what happens.
Do you see a progressive lane materializing that goes through Michigan for 2028 after tonight?
Absolutely. But it's not just Michigan. This is just the beginning. These are never supposed to be swing states, and they will never be swing states ever again if I have something to do with it. It's not just Michigan, it's not just Wisconsin. We will hopefully continue this movement all across the United States of America. We'll go to every single state, because I know that no matter what, no matter where there are workers, there are going to be the same exact interests. There are going to be people who are sick and tired of business as usual politics, sick and tired of the Republican Party that sells them down the river, and sick and tired of the do-nothing Democrats. And we're here to lend a helping hand and to give them a voice, give them a platform, and to hopefully improve their material conditions.
Okay. He wants this everywhere. There'll never be swing states again, is what Hassan Piker says. Think about that for a second. These will never be purple swing states ever again. And they're coming everywhere. So when we say they're coming to a town near you, they're literally coming to a town near you. And I'm not going to play it, but last night, Chris Rabb, who is the Democrat nominee for the House outside of Philadelphia, was on Hannity, 8-minute interview of him exposing all of his kooky, radical, left-wing positions. 2 Democrats won the nomination in Jersey, both of whom are socialists. Anna Magia, who's actually a member of the House of Representatives right now, she took Governor Mikey Sherrill's seat and won in a special election, and she'll win in November, so she'll get a full term. And Dr. Adam Hamaway, who is going to win. He's a Democrat nominee in New Jersey's 11th congressional district, or maybe 10, whatever the number is, and he's going to win. So you're going to have 2 from New Jersey. I'm not saying New Jersey is necessarily a purple state, but these districts are posh suburban districts with well-manicured lawns. These are not urban districts. So yeah, they are coming everywhere. They are coming to a town near you, no doubt about it. And I think we should all be very, very concerned about this, very nervous about this, because they're not stopping. And one thing that I don't really understand, why this did not become a bigger issue in the primary, maybe it will in the general election. Abdul El-Sayed says that when he's on Instagram, every other video is, well, take a listen.
Like, you think about, if you're on Instagram, my team has access to my Instagram account. And like the things that I actually look at on Instagram, right? Of course, we get served that on your For You page. But then like every third video that scrolls on its own is going to be some OnlyFans model. And it's because it clocked me as being a 40-some-year-old man.
I don't get OnlyFans models on my Instagram feed. You know why? Because I don't go on OnlyFans. That's why. I don't look at OnlyFans pictures on Instagram. That's why. So I don't get served any of that. Jared, do you get served any of that?
Well, I don't want to disclose. No, but that's not how it works, bro. Like, it works by, actually, in poor El-Sayed's defense, I had a period of time where I had looked at something, I guess, and I was getting nothing, and I reset my algorithm because it was so frustrating.
Yeah.
But like, I got that because I looked at something, because I watched something, because I interacted with something. By the way, right now for me, I get nothing but Christopher Nolan Odyssey, because I flipped a few things. Like I saw something behind the scenes and I sent it to somebody and the algorithm goes, ooh, he wants all the Christopher Nolan content we have. And it just starts just pushing the garbage at you. Point was, it doesn't push the garbage at you unless you take the garbage from it. Unless you're receiving, the Instagram didn't sit around and go, hey, 40-year-old dude, you know what he wants? You see, he wants some hotties. No, they go, who looks at hotties? And then give them more hotties. Who interacts, give them more. That's not how the internet works. The whole basis of the model.
It's a confession that he's looking at OnlyFans models and he's going on. Yeah, that's it.
100%.
He just right now, my algorithm keeps showing me things about Avengers Doomsday because I'm trying to learn as much as I can. Is it really Captain America? Is it Hydra Cap? Is it a variant Cap? What's going on here? Why is Captain America back in Avengers Doomsday? And why is Robert Downey Jr. getting paid $100 million to play Doomsday when he's just behind a mask the entire time? It doesn't seem like a good use of money. So I look at stuff like that and I constantly get served more Easter eggs on the Doomsday trailer.
And they'll
what you probably missed about Cap's return. Did you see the smirk?
Or they'll be like, hey, 2 things you missed from this other movie, because they're trying to move you out of it. And if you don't watch that, it stops giving it to you. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, El-Sayed, like, oh, what? I was just, oh, you caught me here in the middle of a gym session. Let me talk about OnlyFans models. Let me step out from the bar. Tough on the campaign trail.
But I just happen to have a microphone right over my pecs. I just happen to have a Rode pocket mic right on my shirt, just in case while I was doing my reps, somebody happened to wander to the gym and start asking me questions. I always wear a microphone, which of course needs to be in a receiver of some kind, which is probably attached to that guy's phone. But don't worry about it. I just happen to have this with me at all times. He's like bench pressing. They're like, Mr. El Sayed, would you like to do some questions? Sure, but let me pull out I carry it everywhere, my little microphone. Put it on my pecs, hook it into your phone, and let's do this. So glad I brought it today along with my water bottle.
It's like the old SNL sketches where they're like in the library and they're like, oh, I didn't hear you come in. I'm sorry. I was just doing you know what I mean? Like like we get it. You're a bro. You're younger than you're not running against, like Janet Mills and Susan Collins. Like nobody needs the bro stuff. Just by the way, at the gym, talking about OnlyFans model, it's so try hard, all of it.
It really is try hard. I'm just a dude with pecs like you. I work out all day. Except I don't listen to Rogan. I listen to Hassan Piker. But other than that, I'm just like you. Man, I'm ripped. All you need to do was kiss his guns at that point, and then it would have been. That shirt is like 3 sizes too small on him, on purpose, so that of course his muscles are all defined as he talks about OnlyFans. And his sweatpants shorts, so you can see his little chubby as he's talking about him. I don't know. I don't.
Oh God.
I'm not sure that's true.
If you're new to the Rich Zeoli show, we always go one joke too far. It's our best quality. There's always one that we regret that we should have left in the chamber, and we don't. Just fire them all
There's
off.
the line. I don't just cross it. I pole vault over the line. Okay.
Every time.
That's what has to happen.
And
then we beat it to death, and we resurrect it, and beat it to death, and bury it again.
Yesterday, we're making clips after the show, and it's like this because they care about people that are there early, and this is how you recruit them. They care about the guys that pitch the tent. I don't mean to pitch the tent in the kind of way. And I was like, well, I can't. Are we gonna leave that in there? I got to leave it in. It doesn't make any sense without it. But it's a classic Zeoli.
Yeah, well, it's no filter. What can I say? I mean. What are these pills the doctor gave me to suppress my impulses? Anyway. But no, seriously. Tomorrow in Cape May, we'll have a great time. It'll be a lot of fun. 3 to 6 p.m. I want to see you there. Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. It's going to be fantastic, okay? And we'll have a lot of laughs and a lot of fun. You'll make some friends. You'll see some old friends. You'll catch up, and it'll be great. All right, so the couple other things I wanted to mention to you as well. And I said I wanted to talk about data centers, and I do. But at first, I want to circle back on El Sayed for just a quick moment, because there is a question right now about where a lot of his money is coming from. His campaign is backed by over $100,000 from dozens of members of groups with alleged terror ties. Fox News Digital, written by Andrew Mark Miller, Kiera McDonald, Fox News Digital identified at least 41 donors linked to this group named in the Holy Land Foundation case. So this is the first on Fox. Michigan Democrat Senate nominee Abdul El Sayed's campaign has collected more than $115,000 from individuals who work for or have held leadership roles with the Council on Islamic Relations, CARE, which has been designated a terrorist organization by the United Arab Emirates and formally designated or labeled as such in Florida and Texas. The review found that El Sayed, who has made getting money out of politics a central campaign rallying cry, has accepted donations from at least 41 individuals who either work for CARE, formerly work for CARE, or have served in leadership positions within the organization. The donor list includes several of CARE's highest-ranking officials, including National Board Chair Manal Fakhouri, National Board Treasurer Ayas Abdin, National Vice Chair Imad Sabah, and CARE Michigan Board Member Jaku Tayeb, who is El Sayed's father-in-law. Tayeb has been one of the largest financial backers of the super PAC supporting Sayed's campaign and is also part of the founding committee of the Islamic Society of North America, which is a group linked to Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood funding. One donor, CARE Executive Director Niwad Awad, listed in FEC records under the name Nahed Hamadad, drew national condemnation after saying he was happy to see Hamas break out of Gaza on October 7th, and arguing Israel does not have the right to self-defense as an occupying power. Now, the contributions were not limited to Michigan. Donations from CARE national leaders and officials associated with chapters in California, Arizona, Texas, Georgia, Washington, Illinois, Minnesota, and Ohio, among other states, illustrating the breadth of support El Sayed received from within the organization's leadership ranks. Other names on the donor list include CARE California Gubernatorial Board Trustee Rubina Alvi, a couple other California people, Michigan people, and giving a lot of money. Now, he's maintained ties to CARE beyond campaign fundraising. In 2022, he appeared at a CARE event and was paid for a speaking engagement where he criticized Oklahoma's ban on Sharia law and compared it to the Trail of Tears. That was reported by the Washington Free Beacon. The Council on American Islamic Relations is long with the subject of controversy over its alleged ties to Hamas. In 2007, federal prosecutors named the organization an unindicted co-conspirator in the Holy Land Foundation terrorism financing case, the largest terrorism financing prosecution in U.S. history. Although they were never charged with the crime, federal prosecutors argued the organization was part of a network created to support Hamas in the United States. They've denied the allegations, and they've challenged its inclusion as an unindicted co-conspirator. 2 states, Florida and Texas, have labeled them a terrorist organization. The United Arab Emirates designated the group a terrorist organization in 2014, and that's believed to stem from the UAE's view that CARE has ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, which obviously, as you know, took over Egypt, which is Sayed's native country. And his father was a big supporter of them. Now, the Council on American Islamic Relations has denied allegations that it has ties to terrorism. They have a Dispelling Rumors About CARE webpage, a memorandum saying it has repeatedly condemned anti-Semitism throughout their 30 years of existence, and for decades condemned terrorist attacks by Hamas and other designated terrorist groups, as well as a 2009 statement saying we unequivocally condemn all acts of terrorism, whether carried out by Al-Qaeda, the real IRA, FARC, Hamas, etc., and any other group designated by the U.S. Department of State as a foreign terrorist organization. Well, I mean, honestly, they have to say that or they won't be able to raise money and contribute to candidates. In order to comply with the FEC's rules, they have to say stuff like that. And they also don't want the government looking into their finances. So I think it's going to be something that is going to be talked about a lot because obviously he's got Piker by his side. And this is a guy who has come out and bashed not just AIPAC, but also Israel as well. And they'll spin it and say that this is an anti-Muslim, anti-Islamic thing. You're Islamophobic for asking these questions. But, I mean, I think if you're going to make where you get money from a central component of your campaign, if you're going to make the allegation that because people give you money, you do their bidding, which he's done with Mike Rogers. He said Mike Rogers takes all this money from Big Pharma. He does their bidding. He takes money from AIPAC. He does the bidding of Israel. He takes money from the military-industrial complex. That's why he's a neocon. If you're going to do all those things, then it's fair enough to suggest that we look into your finances, see who's giving you money, and then ask the questions if you're doing their bidding. Or maybe he's not. And maybe it's just a matter of just taking checks. But it's legitimate to ask the questions and legitimate to scrutinize that organization, no different than the way he's scrutinizing whether or not Mike Rogers takes money from Big Pharma and alleging that he's going to do their bidding. So more on that to come, no doubt about it. They're actually holding hearings on Capitol Hill regarding the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States of America. Ted Cruz is doing that. And no Democrats came to the committee hearing. None of them. So we will see. All right. I wanted to talk about data centers, but before I do, let me tell you about my great friends at Emmons Roofing and Siding. You will love the great work of Emmons. They are fantastic. EmmonsRoofing.com. Now's the time to start thinking about this winter and your roof. I know you don't want to say the W word, but you have to, because before you know it, we're going to be dealing with major storms again. So how is your roof holding up? Emmons will never tell you you need a new roof unless you absolutely do. But if you do, you'll get the Owens Corning shingle, the best in the business, lifetime warranty on not just the shingle, but the workmanship as well. You are covered. And they have American-made doors, windows, CertainTeed siding that's going to improve your home, improve the insulation of your home, and just give you better curb appeal. And Emmons does kitchen and bathroom remodeling. And I've used them in 2 different homes, and they've done incredible work in my home. Kitchen, bathroom looks absolutely beautiful, and we're going to have them back to remodel the master bathroom very, very soon. So just go to EmmonsRoofing.com. And if you're a business, Emmons has a commercial division, and they do great work for all the businesses that I've helped introduce them to over the years. I've heard nothing but great feedback. So whether you're residential, commercial, whether you want home improvements or you need some work done on the exterior of your home, or you want to do even just major renovations, Emmons is the go-to company that I've used in 2 different homes over 12 years. EmmonsRoofing.com. Make sure you tell them I sent you. Now, as we get ready for Cape May tomorrow, one of the big questions, of course, is artificial intelligence, which is now creeping into mainstream American politics. Syed said it the other night in his victory speech. Mike Rogers wants to let big tech build data centers everywhere they want. He's also a candidate who said he wants to abolish fossil fuels and have 100% renewable energy. Well, you can't have AI data centers powered by solar and wind. You can't. And I understand there's a big battle going on about not in my backyard. It's the old NIMBY thing, not in my backyard. The president is going all in, as are many officials in Pennsylvania, for example. They just had the big AI data summit led by Senator Dave McCormick with President Trump and Senator Fetterman and Governor Josh Shapiro. And it's causing a lot of consternation at local meetings. I get mixed reviews on this from people who say, I don't want these things, I can't stand them. And then I hear from other people who say, any real criticism of them is China. It's propaganda. It's Chinese propaganda so that America does not move forward with this. And they say it's working because you only have to look at Texas, where Governor Greg Abbott has put a temporary moratorium on AI data centers, very similar to what Kathy Hochul did in New York. Now, you might expect that from New York, but you wouldn't necessarily expect that from Texas, which is all about freedom. But at the same time, the governor has a lot of ranchers. They're very worried about water. And he said, no new data centers will be built until we get a thorough review over how much water they're using. They need to supply their own energy. And I don't have any problems with that. I mean, I think they have to supply their own energy. And they should build a mini power plant in some cases, or one of those pocket nuclear reactors. And yeah, we got to make sure that they have the water resources that they need and they don't take it away from our drinking water. Obviously, those things are common sense. But it's interesting that he put a moratorium on them and didn't just simply come out and say, you need to have these things. He said, we're going to put a moratorium until we can do a thorough review on every project. And there's an article from Wired.com about how AI data centers have broken American politics. And you got guys like Steve Bannon on his War Room podcast, for example. He's an anti-tech prophet who wrote the article, Joe Allen, or was in the article, Joe Allen, the anti-tech commentator. And he's very much against this stuff. And he's going on a lot of the podcasts of the America First movement saying that this has to stop, this has to end, that this is now going to be inverse singularity, the idea that humanity will approach a point where our intellect and creativity collapses as we rely increasingly on AI for information. And they're very concerned that this is going to the data centers. You can't have the AI take over America without the data centers. So even just going beyond the arguments about the land and the water and the power, it's also these things will inevitably give rise to AI, and then AI is going to take over and the robots are going to take over, and we're not going to have any jobs, and we're all going to be out there looking for our robot overlords, and it's just very, very doom and gloom. They even have a post from a white Christian nationalist account on X, a seemingly AI-generated cartoon of Smokey Bear standing in front of a burning data center-like structure with the text, "Only you can prevent data centers." And whether this is a white Christian nationalist, I pull up the tweet. It's this woman, I am me press, aka Julie, American born and raised. White Christian nationalism is the greatest demand and responsibility of our time. For God so loved the world, Jesus Christ I am. Amen. So you see, it's on both sides of the aisle, and it goes to the extremes of both sides of the political aisle as well. Somewhere in the middle of that is the president of the United States, who says this has to happen. We have to win. And if we don't win, China wins. And this is what the president said.
Everybody wants AI, but everybody's scared of it, right? Nobody wants the AI data centers in their backyard, but nobody wants China to have them either. Yeah. How do you navigate that as the president of the United States?
Well, a big part of it is China. Look, whoever wins the AI race is going to win AI. It's bigger than the internet. It's bigger than maybe anything that has happened for for literally hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. It is the biggest thing. And it's mostly good. And the communities that are giving a hard time, now a lot of people think that's China-oriented, that China doesn't want, they're spending a lot of money on promoting, don't build, because we're beating China in AI. We're really doing a great job. I approved, it was my idea actually, for every plant that's built, they build their own electricity. Mm. So this way, and they're building unbelievably modernized, much better than anything we ever had in the country. These are super geniuses. They know about building plants, and they're building their own power. We need tremendous power for that. China's building massive amounts of power. We are too. We're building more than China because every one of those buildings that you see going up is building their own. So they're not taking to the community, and the excess power that they have, which is substantial, they're selling them that back at a very low cost to the grid. So we're getting more and more electric. Costs us nothing. I think any community that turns down AI is making a big mistake because your taxes are going to go way down. If you own a house, it's going to be more valuable.
Now, the article from Wired.com says, for the past few decades, data centers have been quietly built across the United States, largely in areas with both fiber connectivity and proximity to power, Silicon Valley and DC. They help stream Netflix or store stuff in the cloud and do any of the other countless stupid and important things we all do constantly online. Then came ChatGPT and the AI race. Suddenly, tech oligarchs argued we needed to build as many data centers as possible and fast, making the best AI in speeches and news interviews and social media posts required a massive build out, especially of hyperscalers, behemoth visions of the structures we already had. The president bought in, rolling back environmental regulations to get the government out of the way of development. And then data centers began cropping up everywhere. Companies hurried to find the cheapest land, power, and water. Every day brought a splashier headline. Elon Musk reportedly tucked in unpermitted gas turbines to his Memphis XAI campus located in a majority black neighborhood already suffering from high levels of pollution and contamination. And that was an allegation that he dismisses, by the way. And Wired.com, this article comes from kind of a lefty bent, as you can probably tell. A popular, later disputed Washington Post article estimated that a single ChatGPT search guzzled the equivalent of a bottle of water. People eyed their electric bills as new data center loads caused utilities to forecast sky-high demand. If you trusted various economic outlets, data centers, constructions now underpin pretty much the entire U.S. economy. Tech CEOs mused about how AI would take everybody's jobs and replace human creativity itself. And people started to ask questions. And then they started to have rallies. And then they started to show up at community meetings demanding that towns and counties pass bans on AI data centers. A recent Gallup poll showed that 70% of Americans would somewhat oppose or strongly oppose data center construction in their area. And you've seen an attack on pro-data center council member Indianapolis's Ron Gibson, an attack on tech CEO OpenAI's Sam Altman. Data center moratoriums introduced in at least a dozen states, including Georgia, passed in New York, countless cities and counties passing their own bans and moratoriums, including in deep red places like Hill County, Texas, which then led to the entire state having a moratorium. People have been arrested, detained, or escorted out while protesting data centers at public meetings in New Jersey, California, Wisconsin, and Indiana. Actually, in North Jersey, where I used to live, in Sussex County, New Jersey, they had a big battle over this. And there was a town up there, Andover, and they were going to build a big data center, and the town was going to get a windfall of money for having it. There was so much opposition. And yes, people got arrested as the police came into some of those town council meetings, that the mayor up there eventually turned around and said, we don't want it, we won't have it. And they put a permanent ban in data centers in their town. And, you know, this backlash has come from even people on various sides of the political aisle. And it's also come from people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tom Massey. Like Tom Massey worried about how a proposed 10-year ban on state-level AI regulations could be leveraged to build data centers on private property by forcing eminent domain on people's private properties to link the future Skynet is not very Republican. Steve Bannon, on his War Room podcast, he has been very much out there criticizing the technology. And at the end of 2025, when the Trump administration tried to re-up a ban on regulation, a MAGA coalition led by Bannon was the one to stop it. He told ABC News last fall that Allen was a key part of his plan. That's the guy that we talked about earlier. He's going to every conference as possible, meeting people. And I told him, I want you to go to every church that asks you. I want you to go to MAGA Tea Party meetings. I want to get the base in the loop on this at the ground floor. Research in June of a small sample size of voters, for example, shows that very few people opposed to data centers actually live near them. So there's a lot of people who are opposed to them because they believe that they are essentially weapon labs. And when you look at some of the opposition on this too, and it's all across the political spectrum, you've got Bernie Sanders, who's been out there being very critical of them. Then you had Abdul El-Sayed, who came out the other night and said that Mike Rogers is going to let data centers pop up everywhere. So it is becoming now the single issue dividing Americans on both sides of the political aisle. And we do have the problem, though, of wondering about and worrying about China, because I got news for you. China is not stopping. China is going all in. China's made this priority number one: win the AI race. They will build as many data centers. They could care less if people don't want them. I mean, China doesn't care what their people want. So we are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, theoretically anyway. So it's a little bit different over here, but that's not the way it is over there. They will go forward and they will steamroll this. And that's why people that are supportive of AI data centers keep turning around and saying, look, if we don't do this, China's going to win. And then we're going to all wake up one day, and the last thing we'll have to worry about is our water and our power, because China is going to rule the world. And they'll use AI to cripple us, and they will use AI to control us in every single way. Other people turn around and say, well, that's fear-mongering. But, I mean, I guess you can make the argument that if you're talking about not having water or having robot overlords, that's fear-mongering. So here's what I will tell you. I will tell you that watch for this to be a major issue going into the general election. My guess is that more and more of these DSA-backed candidates are going to be openly against them in a big, big way, because they're going to say it's going to take jobs away from the working class, and only they want to take jobs away from the working class. It's like, only we can do that to our pledges in Animal House. And then also look for Republicans who typically would want to end regulation, would want to unleash power, would want to allow the private sector to flourish and build, be put on the defensive, because many of the people in their base are now coming out and saying, you need to regulate this. You need to get the government in stopping this. And you see what's playing out in Texas around that. And you could say to yourself, well, yeah, obviously that's happening right now. And they're being successful in pushing back on that. So Republicans are now, in many cases, embracing regulation, embracing this. And you've got guys across the board, from Tucker Carlson, Matt Walsh, making viral videos questioning the construction of specific projects. And Nancy Mace, who's running for governor in South Carolina, announcing she supports a year-long moratorium. Governor Ron DeSantis is an outspoken AI and data center critic, signing the first of its kind legislation to ensure in part that, quote, local governments maintain the authority to reject data center development in their communities. Which, by the way, is something I completely support, because I think it should be up to the local governments, no doubt about that. But there is a movement to basically get this to be at a place where it just doesn't happen in America. Trump's not going to go along with that. I mean, he's going to push for this. And this is where being a lame duck helps, because he doesn't have to worry about running for re-election again. He can go out there and he can push for this because he thinks it's the best thing for America, and then not have to worry about the backlash of that at the polls. Of course, maybe if J.D. Vance runs, J.D. Vance might have to take a different tact as he's running for president. Maybe a lot of this stuff will be built by then. Maybe by then, Elon Musk will have his ocean AI data centers. But let me know what you think about these things. I saw some of the comments yesterday, and I'll keep looking at them as well, because this is certainly not going away. And yeah, there are a lot of abuses around this. Flock, for example, we've got the story in Jersey. A network of cameras is quietly watching every car in New Jersey, every single car in New Jersey. And then they're using artificial intelligence to profile people, turn data over to law enforcement without a warrant. So yeah, there's a lot of downsides to AI as well, but then there's a lot of good that comes out of it. Curing diseases, being able to do things that doctors were not able to do before. So no doubt about that. So keep the comments and the questions coming, and we'll see where this goes. But I'm only bringing this up because I think it is going to be a major political battle heading into 2028, and even before that in 2026. Me personally, I think we have to win the AI race. We have to. But I completely understand the not in my backyard argument. So we'll have to probably figure this out. But much like nuclear power, it's coming. It's just a matter of, do we want to win, or do we want to let China win? So I'll see you at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey tomorrow, and you can tell me what you think in person. If you support AI data centers, if you want them in your backyard, or if you are flatly against them and want to stop this at every turn, even with the concerns about China basically ruling the world. But before I get out of here, a terrifying video in New Jersey, not in Cape May, but in Ocean City, New Jersey, showing riders hanging upside down after an amusement park ride malfunctioned on the Ocean City Boardwalk. You probably have seen this video or heard this video, but I want to play this for you. Take a listen.
Are they upside down?
Yep. Did you hear my mother? I didn't know Mama Zeoli was there.
That's funny.
You're all right, honey. Somebody needs to tell them that they're hanging upside down. I didn't know my mother was in Ocean City. She didn't call and tell me.
So they're like, for those of you listening, it's one of these things, these giant levers that spins upside, and it's stuck the wrong way. So everyone is just literally upside down, and I'm sure they all have to pee like nobody's business.
Right. They all have to pee. No question about it.
Absolutely. There's a lot
right?
of... I mean, also, like, they're not having any less fun than anybody else is in Ocean City. Seems like it might as well.
Well, it's a dry town, so...
I know.
And it's a kid-friendly town. It's... Hanging upside down might be the best part of your day, if you know what I mean.
These people at least have a story after going to Ocean City. The rest of us have a...
Right.
We got to talk about sneaking booze in across a bridge.
But I love that one woman who's like, "You're all right, honey."
By the way, easy for you to say, you know, when you're the one like standing on the ground.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. This is beautiful.
And if you don't know my mother's voice, this is a video my mom took on her phone when you remember the big spy balloon was going across America, and then they shot it down over Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
She was there?
As it was going overhead, what's that?
She was there?
Yeah, she went. They lived in Myrtle Beach at the time. They left their condo. They went. Everybody did. They all went down to the beach to look up at the Chinese spy balloon. And then my mother became our field reporter during that and gave us this breaking news report.
Oh, jeez.
I think they're blowing it up. Yeah, I think they're blowing it up. We keep hearing explosions. I think the jets circling it blew it up. Where? Where is it?
Look up right above that needle. Straight up. Look above the needle.
Okay. Am I taping the back of me or am I just taping this? Can you tell? Am I getting anything?
See, it's too bright.
Rich, I owe you an apology. I didn't realize how good the Mama Zeoli impression really was. It's much better than I was giving it credit for.
Thank you, Jared. I appreciate that.
There are now
Papa
two
Zeoli.
impressions.
I can do 2 impressions now. And then there's Papa Zeoli right next to her, and he's going on about her cinematography.
I do love, she's like, is this the front-facing camera or is this the regular camera? I was like, oh, man.
It's too bright, Gene. Too bright. You're filming the sidewalk. It's too bright.
That's awesome.
Like it's Steven Spielberg doing Disclosure Day.
Yeah. I mean, that was a better film. It didn't get me stuck there for 3 hours.
Mama Zeoli's handmade video with her iPhone. Definitely the better film. No doubt about that.
Absolutely.
Jared, before we go to your prediction on AI data centers, where all this goes?
No, I heard a guy from Wired interviewed this week, and he said the reason it's cross-party lines is you end up with people that just hate the idea of AI. Then there's people that are NIMBY. Then there's people that have been pissed about how they feel like they were treated by previous tech companies. Then you've got anti-billion or anti-trillionaire people. And like, it sort of is this catch-all that's like catching everybody. And that's why it's cross-party lines, because it sort of taps into everybody's anger and populism. Which makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we all hate big tech, right? Because big tech censored us during COVID, and they, all their free speech nonsense.
You hate big tech for that. The other side feels like big tech knew that kids were going to, have eating disorders and rolled it out anyway. Like it's easy to get both sides to hate big tech. So it makes sense on why it's touching everybody.
Well, in the words of Mama Zeoli, I think they're blowing it up. I think they're blowing it up. All right, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow in Cape May, 3 to 6 p.m. for our live show at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, grandhotelcapemay.com. Thank you for listening.
Oh my God, they want to get rid of the president. I was like, well, I don't know what we would call it in the future. We could call it the head honcho of whatever.
Whatever.